Hi everyone, I'm Aleksandra Anufrijeva, Head of Implementation in A Group and also former HR manager in several industries.
And I'm Inga Makare, Senior Solution Consultant and ISMS Auditor in A Group, and former HR manager. For 20 years, I spent providing all HR services, starting hiring, recruiting, terminations, competence management, and so on and so on. And we also probably should say that A Group provides a core HR and payroll platform with what we're working every day.
Yeah, it is. And today we're here to have short and unique talk about 3 HR skills that helps to work with technologies every day.
Yeah, why we talk about those tech skills for HRs? What do you think, Aleksandra, why it's important?
Probably you recall that some time ago, one of our customers wanted to implement quite specific and unique process, and he was afraid that he doesn't have enough skills to do so, to implement, to oversee the process itself, and how to ensure that it works. And actually, we agreed among ourselves within the colleagues that there is no such specific HR skills that cannot be transferred in technologies. There are many transferable skills that are useful for HR leaders in everyday routine, so they can work with technical solutions.
Yeah, and it's only becoming increasingly important. Embedding digital strategy in HR is not optional, and that the HR must leverage digital practices to drive organizational performance. That's a conclusion of a research paper published in Information and Management in June 2024. And also locally, PricewaterhouseCoopers Baltic Human Capital and Work Environment Survey 2025 revealed that attracting, retaining, and developing necessary human resources is top priority of Latvia and Lithuanian and Estonian employers as well. While innovation and technological advancements comes right after that, also in Latvia.
Yeah, and looking to our customers, they also digitalize more and more different processes to optimize HR daily routines and make it more efficient.
So what about those skills? The first skill that I observed among our clients is systemic and strategic thinking, designing effective processes. And more HR leaders think about their strategy improvements of their daily operations, not their close team daily operations, but the operations of their entire company. If it's active across the Baltic states, for example, and if they think how the actions of their team do impact the system, that is their company, the more tech can help them. And I know that this is what got you hired in A Group, Aleksandra, right?
Yeah, actually, it's quite fun story. I didn't think about changing HR area to IT area. So when I got the invitation to the interview, I was quite surprised, but I decided, okay, I'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes. And it was like regular interview, and on some moment discussing my previous experience, I've mentioned that, and yeah, by the way, I also participated in some HR processes digitalization. And for guys, it was like, oh, tell me more. So what you did, how you did, and so on. So I shared my stories that back then, quite a long time ago, HR systems was more like just databases where you input some data and it does the magic, like some payroll calculations and so on. And in the best case, you can get some printout out of the system. I was working in one quite big global company, and they provided us an intranet tool where we also found out a possibility to create our own kind of forms, documents, and to send them by workflow. So to get some approvals and so on. So on that moment, the biggest pain point, I would say, in HR, it was vacation applications. It was a big company. We worked across all Latvia. We had a lot of branches, and to get your vacation application approved, you need to prepare a paper, give it to your manager, who brings it to Riga, gets more
Running after.
gets more signs, and only then it goes to HR. HR prepares order, it goes to payroll. So quite huge, painful process, especially some applications missing, some signatures missing. So it was a burden for daily routine at all, like completely. And with that tool, we decided, okay, let's give a try. Let's create vacation application in this intranet and build up the process and to see how it goes. So like it was traceable, it was transparent, so employee at all points of time could check, like, did manager approve, did HR receive, did payroll receive, so what's happening. And this allowed us to optimize the process to relieve HR from this quite painful task and to free up our time to do more important things that couldn't be digitalized, at least on that moment, like training, developing skills, and so on. So yeah, this strategic thinking, how to optimize what decision will be the best and brings a great value to your company, it's one of the skills I would say common in all areas, not only HR or technologies.
Important to know what to achieve, supported by flexible thinking, right? And this way, product will better support the goals you and your company need to achieve. For example, compliance with legislation, right? We know there is at least few ways how to comply, and because legal requirements we can interpret differently. Even within one country, so and management, including HR managers and accountants, should make their decision which way to take and which exact fits their company, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this also helps in product design as well. Like, for example, next year comes in force a European directive regarding equal pay for all genders. And now we are working on how to develop this module in our system. And for now, there is just few countries in Europe who already took some legislation actions or have some legislation regulation how to implement it. In Latvia, still this new law is in process, and no one knows how it should work. So that's why it is very important to think of plenty and complexity of different compensation models, variety of them that our customers could have, and to grant possibility to ensure each of those models within our product. So this strategic thinking, even if you know what in the end legislation regulation gonna be, is the stuff that helps you to deal with such complex cases.
Some second skill what we could discuss, I would say it's maybe attention to details.
Oh yeah, I totally agree here. And here I also have quite one of examples that stayed in my mind. It was one of our customers, and the situation was quite specific. So they had contract with employee for quite short time, like 2-3 weeks, something like that. And according to our law, probation period in such short contracts was just a few days. And within those couple of weeks that this employee worked, other employee left, and they had like this permanent vacancy open. And they saw that maybe this temporary worker is good fit for this permanent position, but they wasn't sure. So they asked us to extend probation period. And as you know, by the law, it's absolutely prohibited. And we said, like, no, actually, our system is compliant and we cannot do this. And it was like, what do we do? And in this moment, we came up with just an idea. Let's prolong contract only for 3 months. So, like, if employee is good fit for you, you prolong contract on permanent. If it is not, then like you can let him go, and all the legislation rules will be absolutely strictly followed. So yeah, sometimes attention to such details, it's a crucial to be able to resolve the situations.
Yeah, and also it covers this first skill, flexible thinking, right, as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, in everyday life, we pay attention to every little piece in testing in our job, right?
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's really important to see what causes some client issue, what he entered, what fields are empty, what is missing, or what actions in what sequence he took, and yeah, to understand what how to help him, we need to pay attention to every small piece or detail. But you know, some time ago I finished my courses in testing, and I was taught that fully testing doesn't exist. So yeah, but we can't test everything. But anyway, if we pay attention to details, it makes testing successful. Actually, it's really important to see those small, really tiny things where to improve and how to act.
Yeah, you know, there is such things that devil is in the details, and also for HR and for technologies, again, it's a quite crucial skill which we have in common.
And also our HRs, they help with their used scenarios to helps us to improve our product. And it's actually really good when HR has this curiosity, I would say. And then, yeah, this is really cool and helps.
And also, this brings us to the third skill, which I would like to mention. It is data analysis. And it's like the things that HRs do all the time. It's our daily routine, and in technology is the same. We do analyze customer requests. HRs do analyze the data what they have, and I really do believe that all HRs are good at it. Like, for example, I'm quite proud about this termination reason report that we have in our system, which is designed first of all, to be able to implement plenty of methodologies, because as you know, there is a huge amount of them, and four most common ones are what we have. And the second, it gives you perspective of what are the reasons why people really leave your company. So, like, for example, if you see that in one particular department, employees leaving constantly with the reason like got better offer, got better salary offer, it's a clear point to you that you need to pay attention there. And I truly believe that data-driven decisions are the best, because in this case, you have the statistics, you have the analysis, and you can prove that you need to increase budget for this specific department, because it seems we are under market and employees are constantly leaving it. So yeah, data analysis is one of the core skills, I would say.
Totally agree with you. Yeah, data is currency now. So yeah, you need to know what to change, and you know, you need to know your employees, for example, their age for generation specific, to understand this specific, or to know their motivation, some other stuff to build some well-being strategies and so on. So gather all those data together and come up with decision is really important. And also, you need to know your full company, and data analysis helps you get approval of changes you need to introduce to achieve your goals. So, as you mentioned, for example, this turnover or employees leaving, and yeah, that just helps you move to a more strategic position in your company as HR as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about those skills, how could the HRs hone those skills? How do you think? What do you recommend?
Well, from my perspective, I would say for now we have a great offering on the market with different trainings. Me personally came across AI HR trainings, and also plenty of different events happening, different conferences, lectures, seminars, everything. And additional value in participation in such events, I would say, is networking. So we are HRs and we know how important networking is. And also one of the things that good from networking and from such events, also like it widens your look on the world, it widens your experience, so you can share, discuss some situations, and maybe get a new perspective on some complex situations that you didn't see any exit.
I would also, there was a time I was going to reskill myself for tech, in tech at all. I want to change this HR. So I also took some courses, as I mentioned already, testing, and I would recommend for everybody some Coursera or Udemy training online courses. And we have also in Latvia this life learning projects where you can attend and participate. And one more thing what I wanted to mention is if we are coming back to this systemic thinking, we are questioning ourselves, right? Why do we work in this way? Why we do that? Why we do so? Because it's really important to understand why, right? And we sometimes act all the time one way. And without questions, we don't know that there is a way to do differently, right? More efficiency, or it's really. Do you agree about this? So questioning yourself?
Oh, for sure. And actually, it's one of the things that each my customer hears in the very beginning of any project, like, get yourself ready. I will question everything and you will hear why a lot from my side, because I need to understand the essence, why you have such process, why you do it in this way. And it's quite surprisingly that quite often the answer on all my whys is, well, we always did this way.
Because so, yeah.
Yeah, because so. And why you don't try to do it differently, in a more efficient, more clear, more transparent way. And sometimes it's like questioning yourself also helps you to find the way and better way how to do stuff, and to make it more efficient, more optimized, and free up your time to do something else what is important.
Yeah, true. So thank you for this conversation. Thank you for listening to our light talk about those 3 skills which makes HR good at tech.
We tried to lighten you up, and to share our experience, how HR can be transformed in IT, and what we have all in common.
Yeah, this was Aleksandra Anufrijeva
and Inga Makare.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and we also